He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, counting the seconds between each slow blink. Istanbul's night was quiet outside his window, but inside his mind, it was chaos. The hotel room was dim. Only the faint orange glow from the street lamps outside cut through the dark, forming soft lines across the floor. His phone was face down on the nightstand. He hadn't touched it in hours, not since the message he couldn't bring himself to answer or delete. Can Yaman had known many kinds of nights, nights of celebration, of heartbreak, of loneliness. But this one was different. This night wasn't loud. It was silent. And it was that silence that kept him awake. That silence that forced him to face what he had been avoiding for months. Because tonight, no distraction was strong enough. Not the noise of the city, not the glow of fame, not the weight of work. Tonight, he was just a man alone in a room, haunted by a secret he had buried deep, a secret that was finally clawing its way to the surface. And her name was Demet. He turned to his side, reaching for the pillow where her head had once rested. The memory of her laughter echoed faintly in his mind. It had been months, maybe a year, since they had last spoken. Since the cameras had stopped rolling and reality had quietly taken their place. But no matter how many people he smiled for, no matter how many times he said he had moved on, he knew the truth. He hadn't. The message from earlier that day sat on his phone like a weight. A single sentence. A simple check-in. "Hey. I heard you're in town. I didn't know if I should reach out. Hope you're doing okay." It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't romantic. But it was her. Her voice in his mind as he read the words, soft, unsure, real. And that made it unbearable. Because she didn't know. She didn't know what he had done. Or what he had chosen not to do. And the guilt of that decision was the reason he couldn't sleep. It had started innocently. Or at least, that's what he told himself. They had been working together on set for over a year. Day after day, take after take, they had built not just chemistry for the screen but a connection behind it. At first, it was playful. Harmless teasing, long looks, late-night texts. Then one night, something shifted. They were shooting a scene, something intense, something romantic. The cameras cut, but neither of them moved. The air between them changed. After that, nothing was quite the same. What happened behind closed doors stayed there. For a while. They were careful. Or they thought they were. But in truth, the lines had blurred so quickly that neither of them could tell where the script ended and their feelings began. It should have been beautiful. And for a while, it was. But then came the pressure. The whispers. The headlines. Every smile they shared was analyzed. Every glance was magnified. And slowly, what had been theirs alone began to feel like it belonged to everyone else. Can tried to protect it. He did everything he could. But the more he tried to shield their connection, the more fragile it became. They stopped meeting outside of set. The texts became shorter. The smiles, more forced. And then, one night, Demet came to him with a question he wasn't ready for. "What are we doing?" He remembered how she looked that night, hair tied back, no makeup, just raw honesty in her eyes. She wasn't asking for drama. She wasn't asking for promises. She just wanted clarity. A place to rest her heart. And he said nothing. He had opened his mouth. He had tried to speak. But fear choked the words. Fear of what they were becoming. Fear of what they might lose. Fear of his own heart, too. She waited for him to say something. Anything. But he stayed silent. And that silence, he now realized, was the loudest mistake he had ever made. Back in the hotel room, Can sat up suddenly, his chest tight. He thought about calling her. About replying to the message. About telling her everything. That he never stopped thinking of her, that the silence wasn't because he didn't care, but because he cared too much. But what if she had already moved on? What if she had sent the message out of politeness, not longing? What if she had forgotten the nights they shared? The late-night walks after filming, the quiet coffee shop in the alleyway, the song they had once danced to in the kitchen of her apartment when the world felt far away? What if he was the only one who hadn't let go? He ran his hands through his hair, pacing the room. Sleep was impossible. Because sleep required peace. And peace was something he hadn't felt since the night he let her walk away. It wasn't until nearly 3 a.m. that he did something he hadn't done in months. He opened the drawer beside the bed. Inside, buried beneath a few travel brochures and a pen, was a photo. Creased, faded slightly, but still intact. It was a photo of her. Not one from the media, not one taken by paparazzi, but a candid shot. Her eyes were closed. She was laughing. He had taken it when she wasn't looking. He held the photo carefully, like it might fall apart. This was the secret. Not the picture itself, but what it represented. He had kept it with him. Through countries. Through projects. Through all the denial and all the silence. Because some part of him had never stopped hoping. He brought the photo to his lips, whispering her name like a prayer. And for the first time in months, a tear rolled down his cheek. Not from sadness. But from the unbearable weight of everything unsaid. He lay back down, photo still in hand, heart wide open. But sleep still wouldn't come. Because some nights aren't for rest. Some nights are for remembering. Some nights are for regrets. And this night was all three. The photo lay on his chest like a heartbeat. Every rise and fall of his breathing seemed to echo louder in the stillness of the room. It was strange how something so small could carry so much weight. How a single moment frozen in time could pull a man apart. Ken closed his eyes, but sleep didn't come. Instead, memories flooded in, sharp, soft, and relentless. There had been another night like this. One he never talked about. One he buried deep beneath press interviews and red carpets. It had been the night he almost told her the truth. They had wrapped a long day of shooting, exhaustion clinging to their limbs. The crew had left, the cameras had stopped, but the air between them still sparkled with something unsaid. They sat on the rooftop of the studio, legs dangling over the edge, a quiet city stretched out below. Demet had leaned her head on his shoulder, the wind playing gently with her hair. "You know," she had said, "sometimes I think we were too careful. Like we were trying so hard not to break anything that we ended up breaking each other." He hadn't replied. He didn't know how. But in that moment, he wanted to say it all. That he loved her. That he was scared. That he didn't want to lose what they had, but that he also couldn't live in between anymore. He almost did. But the words got lost. Again. And that was the problem with silence, it always came easier than truth. Now, months later, in a hotel room that felt colder with every passing hour, he sat upright, eyes wide, soul heavy. He had to tell her. Even if it was too late. Even if it changed nothing. He picked up his phone. Her message was still there. Waiting. Like she was still on the other end, unsure if she'd said too much, or too little. His fingers hovered over the screen. He typed. Then erased. Typed again. Paused. Finally, he wrote. "I couldn't sleep tonight. Because I realized I never answered you, not just your message, but everything. There's something I never told you. And I think it's time you knew." He stared at it. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't enough. But it was something. His thumb hovered over the send button. And then he stopped. Because a knock came at the door. A soft, hesitant knock. 3 gentle taps. He froze. No one knew he was here. No one was supposed to know. He walked to the door slowly, almost afraid of what he might find on the other side. He opened it. And there she was. Demet stood there, arms crossed, jacket wrapped tightly around her. She didn't say anything at first. Neither did he. She looked at him like she was trying to read a language only the two of them had ever spoken. And for the first time in a long time, he felt seen. "I couldn't sleep either," she finally said. His heart clenched. "How did you?" "A friend told me you were here," she said. "I almost didn't come. I thought maybe I was being stupid. Maybe you didn't want to see me. But then I remembered, that night on the rooftop. When you said nothing." He lowered his gaze. "I should have said something," he whispered. "Yeah," she said softly. "You should have." Silence fell between them again. But this time, it wasn't empty. It was full of everything they never said. She stepped inside slowly. He closed the door behind her. She looked around the room, then at the photo still lying on the bed. Her eyes softened. "You kept it?" He nodded. "I kept everything," he said. "Even the parts one pretended to forget." She sat on the edge of the bed, picking up the photo carefully, like it might break. "Just like them." "Why now, Can?" she asked. "Why not months ago? Why didn't you call? Why did you let me think it was nothing?" His throat tightened. "Because I thought if I stayed quiet, I wouldn't lose you completely," he said. "But I did. Anyway." She looked at him for a long time. "You didn't lose me," she said. "You just gave me nowhere to stay." Those words shattered something inside him. He sat next to her, knees touching, the silence between them breathing heavy. "I loved you," he said, finally. "I know," she replied. "I loved you too. I still." She stopped. He turned to her, eyes searching hers. "Still?" She didn't look away. "Still." It was almost morning now. The sky outside was beginning to change. That soft gray before dawn. That hour when the world feels both empty and full. They lay side by side on the bed, not touching, not speaking. Just existing in the same space again. She broke the silence. "Do you think we waited too long?" He thought for a moment. "Maybe," he said. "But maybe some things aren't about timing. Maybe they're about truth. And I wasn't ready to tell mine until now." She turned to him. "Then tell me everything." And so, he did. He told her about the photo. The nights he couldn't sleep. The regrets. The rooftop. The messages he wrote but never sent. The moments he wanted to call but didn't. The fear. The longing. The guilt. He told her everything. And when he finished, he looked at her, expecting tears. Or anger. Or distance. But she just nodded. "Thank you," she said. "For not letting it stay buried." He looked at her, unsure of what came next. "What do we do now?" She smiled faintly. "Maybe nothing," she said. "Maybe we just sleep." And for the first time in a long time, they did.